What is up, guys? This is Pixie StarCraft bringing you a PvT on Antigua Shipyard. This is, of course, between our friendly neighborhood Neodd spawning down here in the 7 o'clock position, our blue Protoss, and our orange Terran spawning up here in, I believe, the 3 o'clock position. Now, JDIRVIN, as you did see in Game 1, if you just came from Game 1, was playing Zerg. Of course, he is a random player, meaning that he got paired up as Terran, I believe. If that is wrong, then maybe he just decided to pick Terran. Looks like there is some friendly in-game banter. Of course, these players just being nice in manner. Of course, this is an amateur tournament put on by the Nebraska Esports Association, because I'll go check those guys out. They put on amazing tournaments. I just love them so much. They're my favorite people. And, of course, just some friendly banter between JDIRVIN and Neodd. I'm interested to see what style of play these guys will be doing for. Of course, being a random player is always something very difficult. I can barely play one race wall. The fact that this guy actually needs to play all three is completely astounding. I think people have actually gotten into Master League playing random is completely insane. I mean, looks like Neodd just asking a couple questions. Of course, the Nebraska Esports Association, of course, provides a loser's bracket. Whoopsie daisies. Just for all the players. Yes. Man, Neodd, you need to be confident in yourself, man. I have faith in you, Protoss, buddy. Just because you lost Game 1 doesn't mean you can't take Game 2. Or even Game 3 if it goes to that set. Looks like just standard standard barracks first. No fast expand, although there might be a fast expand as no gases have been taken for the Terran, which might mean a fast expand if he chooses not to take that gas on 13. Of course, factory play is very common. Looks like he is opting instead to maybe do a fast expand. Of course, at the Protoss base, we are seeing completely standard. Now, he is current boosting, meaning that we may not see a 4-gate this time. Hopefully, the matches go a little bit longer. Looks like he is not opting to do a fast expand here. Maybe perhaps a 3-century expand, or just a 3-gate expand. Of course, that is quite increasingly common versus Terran these days, as a forged fast expand is something you would see kind of more commonly versus Zerg. Probe getting here and scouting. Did the probe see anything of value? Let's just check it out. Looks like the probe didn't see much. I think he just came up here and confirmed that yes, there was. I don't think he actually scouted this. I think he just did. He go up the ramp and just not see anything. We check his cam again. It looks like he didn't. He scouted here. He scouted here, and he came up here, but he didn't go up the. I'm kind of well. Regardless of that, let's just head back to his base. I mean, he is chasing this guy around right here who has done a bit of damage this time, and our score is building right now because it's completely standard, no crazy cheese. Man, this guy, Neodd must be shaking his head wondering, okay, where the heck is this guy? Did he float down to the goal? No, I don't think that happened. But there is the fast expand is coming. Of course, no gases were taken. Very indicative of a fast expand. And now I hate to be that person to judge, but I do believe that JDIRVIN might be a little bit more of a, he might have played a little bit more. He might be just a bit more of a skilled player than Neodd. Of course, let's not count Neodd out as he's still a fantastic Protoss, as all Protosses have just a tiny bit of bias in my heart, as of course I do love the Protoss race with their cute little probies. Now let's see what this probe does in fact scout up here. Looks like he will be taken up by the Marines, but that does mean he will scout the fast expand, meaning that he knows that he is completely safe to expand now, as of course when a fast expand does happen, you are usually completely safe. Instead of opting to take a second gas, maybe, or going for a more tech-based play, looks like he thinks he will expand, decides that yes, he will expand, so perfect reaction from him, from our Protoss player, realizing, okay, it's completely safe to expand now, I can go ahead and expand, don't need to add the extra 3 gates. I believe he might have added 2 more gates to make it a 3-gate expand, just to make sure he's completely safe, but realizing, I don't need to do that. So maybe, I was counting Neodd out just a little early, as of course he is skilled enough to make that assessment, as most players are, so that 4-gate was just sort of, maybe sort of him getting warmed up. 2 bunkers going down. I believe that's a little bit of an overkill, as I don't think you need 2 bunkers to hold off early pushes, especially once you get scouted. Although, maybe once you do get scouted, you definitely need a second bunker. Of course, my Terran logic is not the best, as I am not the best Terran player in the world. In the main base, we are seeing 3 more Raxes added. This looks like he's going to go for some early Marine pressure. If he can begin producing out of all these barracks at once, of course, they do have the yellow SCVs, as MC likes to put it. If anyone watched the Home Story Cup, which has been broadcasting for the past few days, I know MC likes to refer to the mules as the yellow SCVs. He also likes to refer to them as imbalanced, which, of course, I'm sure Blizzard would never let Terran be imbalanced. Finally, taking both of his gases at his main base at the natural, we are seeing good SCV count, excuse me. Why do they have to name everything so different? Of course, probe and drone are so similar, and then SCV. Let's just name it the most far-off thing from everything else, of course. The Nexus is now finishing, meaning that let's just hop that production tab open. Excuse me, I should have had that open the entire time. Regardless, I hope that good job asking to sort of catch everything without having that production tab opening. The Robo Bay is actually going down for our Protoss player right now, meaning that we will probably see the quick observer, so he knows what that fancy Terran is up to. When he sees all these racks coming down, he'll probably be worried about a push coming, as of course these barracks will be salvaged when the push moves out. I'm assuming a push is coming quite shortly. However, with enough zealots and sentries, this push will be negated. These bunkers probably will be salvaged as the Terran player moves out across the map. Over here, we are seeing more zealots being morphed in. With a good force field, this could totally cut the force right into, meaning that they will do very little damage, as of course zealots do massive damage. Almost everything does sort of massive damage to the Marines, but once the Marines get their upgrades, get their stim packs, they do massive damage to everything else, especially stalkers. So he is opting to warp in more stalkers, which I don't necessarily agree with, but it looks like we will sort of have to judge when this push does arrive. So we're just mousing over to see when this push is coming. Looks like the probe is moving out, gets taken out by the Marine force. Actually, no, does actually manage to slip. I will get some scouting information. Needs some good force fields here. Let's see if the force fields are good enough. Looks like opting there are the force fields. Amazing force fields. Oh my goodness, cut. He waited until it was up the ramp and cut almost everything in half. These force fields will take down this entire flock of Marines. Absolutely amazing force fields. Am I watching MC play, guys? Because that was ridiculous. Of course, I'm not, as he did actually manage to slip up on his probe production just briefly, but wow. The observer will get out and will scout this, so of course the probe actually does manage to hold on to the watchtower. He will see that the bunkers will not salvage, which actually in the long run is quite good, as most stuff was taken down. Now he is pushing out immediately, which I don't actually agree with, because I think that he should stay back and just tech, or maybe get a third base up, but going right after this, going right after the bunkers, I really don't agree with, especially since he has an observer up there. He sees these bunkers are up. He also knows that Stimpack is on the way, but maybe it's actually a good time to strike, as the fact that Stimpack is not done just yet. He's opting to take these down, these rocks down. Of course, he will get scouted by the Marine, realizing that I might be in a bit of trouble, but I feel like adding this extra bunker is a good idea, and I think that he should be teching, okay? He did a lot of damage. I don't think there's any guarantee that he can do any more damage right now. I think that opting to attack right now is a bad idea on the Protoss' part, but we will see how this turns out. He is also cutting a lot of probes. I've not seen probes come out of the Protoss for quite a while, as finally two are beginning to move. I'm actually getting quite worried right now. He needs to push now, because Stimpack is about to finish, and if Stim finishes, this will be absolutely terrible. Even adding supply depots to further this wall up. Oh man, this Protoss needs to push right now. I don't know what he's waiting around for. This is absolutely bad. No, he needs to actually pull back. I don't think if the Protoss attacks right now, I do not think he will win this battle. I think this is a terrible move on the Protoss' part, and I don't know how many ways to reiterate this. Of course, in the Protoss space, we are seeing the looks like the pylon is actually going down to the low ground here too. This can actually be sniped, but he will get vision on the high ground. Will he warp in on the high ground? It looks like he will actually warp in on the high ground, meaning that he might have to pull a couple of units. Looks like the pylon will not be sniped, and he's actually going to get this. No way, he's actually going to get that Marauder. No way. Now there are two zealots just kind of meandering about. Will he choose to pull units from the front, or will he actually just let this happen? He's not even going to pull units back there. He actually pulls a small squad of units back, but the production from the Protoss base is just too good. Why isn't he warping in more? I feel like he should warp a little bit more on the high ground. Looks like we can actually know the bunk that was taken out. I think any more warp on the high ground would actually be not so good. The Protoss' base, excuse me, he actually does not have one warp gate transferred, and when you only have 4 gates to work off, that is really bad. There we go, finally transferring now. Now he is getting the Colossus out, but he is supply blocking, and he is chrono boosting that supply block building. That is so unlucky. Of course, if we look at the supplies, the Terran is leading, even after losing all that much. He is leading, and it looks like I think the Protoss should push back. I think hanging out here is a bad idea, but he is getting his third, which is so good. At least he's doing that, because I think that hanging out in this area is just a recipe for disaster, because now that the Terran does have these medevacs, one stim is actually just going to obliterate this. I mean, there's absolutely nothing that the Protoss could do against the stim besides turn on some force fields, and he does have full energy, so the force fields could be very effective, actually. We go up here. Looks like a drop is actually incoming. Looks like he's looking to circumvent this, but it will be spotted by the Stalker, meaning that ooh, this is actually pretty bad, because the Stalker will spot this, and therefore they will be warping in defenses at home, actually taking down a lot of health. Looks like he will move, and looks like he will head back, just sort of tricking him into thinking that a drop was coming, when in fact a drop was not coming. Looks like he is even getting his upgrades at home. The Protoss is just sort of gearing up to maybe set on a siege, getting a command center that is so necessary. Of course, the Protoss has already gotten his command center up in the Protoss space. We are not seeing any more gateways be added, and I think he really needs to add some more gateways. And I think he should be at about 6 right now, as opposed to just the 4 he is on. He definitely has more than enough to support the 6 gateways, as he is going ultra aggressive. He is just getting non-stop production, getting another Colossus out as his other one makes his way across the map. And the Colossus, once its thermal lens is done, which I believe it already is, let's check the RoboBay. Of course, yes, the thermal lens is done. He will have enough to, I believe, outrange these bunkers, although they might be on the high ground. It looks like he is opting to pull back such a mature, no, actually. I was just going to commend him on how mature that move would have been if he just decided to pull back and secure his base, but actually, no. I think what really needs to happen right now is a drop. A drop needs to occur, but it looks like the Stalkers are just placed so well, just denying these drops. He's just got such a contain on the guy right now. If he can keep this up and get his third base completely saturated, which he does, he's in a great position. He just needs to warp in a little bit more and definitely add some more gateways. Looks like he is not adding gateways right now. That is really, really unlucky. At his main base, he only has a couple probes mining, not saturated, although he is getting his upgrades. This is his first upgrade. He is almost saturated here. He really needs to keep that probe production up if he wants to be saturated on all his base, getting that optimal income. In the Terran base, looks like he is sniping bunkers, but the Vikings are. He needs to be really, really careful so he doesn't get the Colossus snipe. The Vikings, of course, do so much damage to those Colossus, but that means that he cannot be producing Medivacs when he is producing Vikings, meaning that he has done some damage. Getting the hallucinations so good, just for scouting with Phoenixes, and for just making those units appear to be meat shields. I mean, hallucinating a couple more Colossus just so they tank damage is going to be so useful, especially against luring the Vikings out so they can snipe Vikings that just kill useless units. More Colossus are coming out across the field. In the main base, we are seeing good saturation. No more gates being added. Getting the Templar Archives now. I agree with this as he does have 3 bases, but I really think that he needs to be getting more gates. That should be his priority right now. He is adding 2 more gates, actually. Let's find out. He is adding them right here, meaning he will be on 6 gates, but I think that he can afford to be on a little more, and a drop coming around this side. Now, this is actually going to be so good and useful. Looks like he did snipe another barracks, but, excuse me, a bunker. But he needs to be careful just so he does not lose any Colossus. Did he lose a Colossus in that? If we check the units lost tab, it looks like he... well, it actually doesn't tell us if he lost a Colossus, but I believe he had 3 Colossus, and it is now down to 2, so he actually did lose a Colossus in this. Looks like the siege is good, but it looks like he will actually lose the third if he cannot react to this drop in time. Looks like he will see it now, but I think it'll be a little too late as he will lose all these probes on his base. Look immediately, that's so good, but he actually will lose his nexus if he can't get warp-ins in immediately. Warping them in, but they're going to take so much damage. Warping in Stalkers, that's a bad idea. You need to warp in the Zealots because the Stalkers will just be taken out so quickly by the DVS of the Marines. The Marines actually not focusing on the Stalkers. Opting to push the front base too at the same time. Looks like the force fields are actually holding his Zealots out. That's so bad. Getting his Colossus sniped almost immediately. Looks like there's just too many Vikings to snipe the Colossus. The Plus is only getting 1 shot and taken down. It looks like the Protoss is in such a bad spot. Checking in his last tab, he's almost 1,000 units ahead. Terran opting just to chase him down with all those stimmed units. Looks like the Protoss will have to hurry all the way back to his base as, of course, the Terran chases him down. The Protoss is in such a bad position right now. He's trying to do too much, and now that this base was almost denied, it actually was not even. The Stalkers did manage to save that, and the drop was taken out. But of course, not having this mining, having that delayed mining is going to be so bad. And having not saturated all his probes is bad too. Those force fields actually really hurt the Zealots. Looks like the push is here. He really needs some good force fields to take care of all these bio units. He is not looking at the army right now. The entire army is focusing on one stack. He's getting a lot of this guy's sniped. All the force fields are going to go down, but the Zealots are already taking out the Colossus. Is actually shooting on these, but the Colossus are actually taking out the Stalkers are all getting taken out by the Marauders and the Marines, and I can barely talk, guys. Looks like some of his gateways aren't even transferred either, and it looks like that is GG. The Marauder Marine Force will just crush this entire army, and I don't see much that our Protoss player can do. Maybe a good Psystorm would do the trick right now. If he warped in a High Templar and got some good Psystorms on this army, would be probably the only thing he could do right now, as he's quite low on health from all the sins. One Psystorm will probably kill this entire ball, but I don't really see much that this Protoss player can do. Warping in right on top of the army. It looks like he is quite low on units, and a Psystorm would do the trick, but actually landing the Vikings too, and I don't think that there's much. Maybe this Colossus comes out and do a bit of damage, but I don't really think there's much that can be done at this moment right now. Neodd just fighting for his life so he doesn't get knocked into that loser's bracket, but unfortunately it looks like that will be GG. Even growing a little bit, I know it's understandable to be frustrated, but following it up with a heart, not being a bad manner player. Fantastic manner from Neodd, fantastic play from our Terran. I really look forward to see how JDIRVIN managed to follow that up in the series. Of course, this is from Season 1, put on by the Nebraska Esports Association, so please check those guys out. Also, check out our sponsors, QuickTech.net. If you want a gaming rig that's going to play StarCraft at the best specs possible, you're going to go check those guys out on their website, get a custom gaming rig sent right to you anywhere. And of course, check me out at Pixie StarCraft. You can follow me on Twitter at JohnPoneSoHard, and of course, my YouTube channel is /user/Pixie StarCraft. That's Pixie StarCraft if you want to check me out. And I hope you join me for other games I cast, guys.